Thank you very much. My name is Vasil Gospodinov. I am part of Imperia Online, and today I'm going to talk about monetization, growth, and how to make your game from zero to hero. It sounds like quite cliche, but these are tips that could actually, make your game from zero to hero. And the idea of this presentation is to give you ideas how to make your players to become payers, essentially. Just a little disclaimer, we are focusing on in-app purchases instead of in-game ads and other traditional ideas. So a little bit background on myself. I've been part of Imperia Online for the last 2 years, and this is actually my first job in the gaming industry. So I don't have a lot of experience in terms of years, but I've been part of a lot of the monetization methods that we've built over the last 2 years in our games. We have a portfolio of 28 games. In the last 3-4 months since we acquired Crush the Mo, I've been part of the monetization team that we've been trying to improve the game since we took over it. And I've been also doing the featurings behind our games on some of our games. So I think I'm quite competent to continue with this presentation. So to explain a little bit more about Imperia Online, we were actually established in 2005. We started with an MMO game called Imperia Online, same as the company name. We have a 28 game portfolio with 60 million players across those 28 games. Imperia Online is our biggest game, and it's our flagship title. From there on, we have a lot of players from America, Russia, Brazil, very loyal players. We're very, very liked in here. We have our games on platforms like Facebook. We have it on web, mobile, Facebook, other social medias like Odnoklassniki, VKontakte. And behind all of this experience in these 28 games, 60 million players, we have a team of 90 professionals. So we're relatively large. And for this reason, we're actually one of the biggest game production studios in Southeastern Europe. We're located in Sofia, Bulgaria. And as I said, we have a focus on MMO type of games with a web and mobile focus in terms of platforms. I think the most recent news about the company itself is that we became part of Steelfront Group back in 2018. So if you're not familiar with Steelfront, they're one of the biggest groups in the world for independent game studios. And the idea of this group is for studios that are part of it to synchronize and join their efforts and knowledge to, become better at what they're doing and achieve better goals. And since we became part of Steelfront Group, one of the things that we're very, very proud of, and it's something, it's an amazing achievement, to be honest, is because we were actually crowned the live operation hub for all of these 20 studios that are currently in Steelfront. So this means that we're actually the best at live ops, and obviously we know what we're doing with events and monetization, as I'm about to show you guys. So yeah, let me show you a little bit more what we're going to have a look at today. So the first topic is going to be categories, so I'm going to gloss over this. It's not going to be a very massive look through it. We're going to explore what Imperia Online's done as in methods that we've used in our games, but for sole purpose, we're actually focusing on in-app purchases where it says Imperia Online methods on the second bit. We're also going to look at the psychological factors because these are very, very integral to monetization in games in general, and of course the fine-tuning for each method that you choose for your game. And actually here you can see this is Imperia Online, this is the logo. In Russia we have it as Imperia Online 2. This is Siege World War II. This is our mobile game that we acquired from Simotronics. We took that game over from them back in 2020 in the earlies. And we've been doing the live operations since then. We've managed to triple the revenue increase the daily active users, and introduce a lot of monetization methods that have improved the game overall. We also have a Balut game with our colleagues at Babil. They are as well from Steel Front Grip. So yeah, let's dig in. So to begin with, we have premium games. That's one of the biggest, one of the first kind of monetization methods. For the sole purpose, I'm going to actually stick to mobile in general. But this is a VR game that we have on Oculus and on Steam. It's called codename Phantom. This is one of the few projects that we had as premiums, but ultimately we decided that the premium isn't something that we can maximize our revenues from. So we decided to move on to free-to-play. We have also had advertisement in our games, such as this is actually called Rocket Chameleon. Very simple game, casual. So very simple mechanics. The green chameleon has to eat the green bug. And the only way for you to monetize, the main monetization method on that was advertisement. That includes banners, videos, interstitials, and playables. Of course, there are other ways in terms of advertisement, but these are the most regarded ones. But ultimately, because we don't focus on casual games so much, we've gone and we've put this to the side as well. We do actually have advertisement in our games, as I'm going to show you right now. So this is actually more of a reward monetization type of method. So you have video advertisement, and for this video advertisement, if you can see here on the middle screenshot, you have watch an ad to get some sort of feature. In this case, it's actually the premium currency called Flus for Crush Them All, the latest acquisition that we actually made. And we also have, for online artillery, we had another, this is on the screenshot on the left-hand side, we had other ways of rewarding our players. And video ads may be the biggest ones and probably the most used, but also other actions such as installs are very good, referrals and challenges with your friends, or ratings. Especially if you're an indie developer, rewarding your players for a rating, for them to rate your game is a sure way for you to get a quick rating, bump it up, and then perhaps maybe get more love from Google and Apple in terms of featuring when it comes to mobiles. And just to prove that actually there should be some sort of balance, there's about 30% of the revenue from our game, Crush Them All, comes from rewarded monetization. So despite that we're using a lot of in-app purchases, we still try to get some sort of revenue from these rewarded monetizations simply because they improve the gameplay for the non-payers. And at the end of the day, your game is played by everyone. It doesn't matter whether they're paying or they're playing. At some point, they will probably convert to payers, or they won't ever. It's really their personal choice. But yeah. There are also subscriptions. Now, the subscription ones are quite interesting because they're not a direct subscription to a game, but a subscription to a gaming-related services. So these are, I'm going to explain a little bit more later because I have a specific example with it. But having these subscriptions is, they give the players a taste and of what they can expect for their money. So they give them boosts. Yeah. So yeah, the last one in terms of methods that I'm going to specify today are the in-app purchases. So those include virtual currencies, packs, goods. The goods can be also skins, inventory, so many things. It really depends on your game, of course. You can have exclusive content and offers such as the one on the right-hand side. I think this is the limited offer, which is when you first sign in, sign in to the game, Imperia Online, you're going to get this one-time offer, basically. And you can get a head-up start compared to your other players and be better than them, competitive-wise. And of course, you have more resources, so you'll be able to reach higher goals. The in-app purchases also include discounts. Now, these are very major ones, I think, because everyone likes to get a bargain. So the more you tune your method to look like a bargain, and you of course give discounts, the more people will pay for it. Yeah, and of course, holiday content. You know, this can be everything. You can do everything with the holiday content. So yeah, we've been actually doing when it comes to live operations, we do a lot of we try to target specific regions, and we of course we give the reward to everyone. So we have for major events in Russia, in Brazil, in America. Yeah, we try to target major events, not just, let's say, just some holidays. We also do actually. Last year we did, I think, our seventh World Cup in our game Imperia Online. So we also try to do separate tournaments that can boost up your in-app purchases. And actually, I'm going to have a few tips today, and this is actually where the first one comes, is that, you know, the key to a great monetization is to identify the important facts and analyze them. And what I mean by important facts is for you guys to understand what your audience is. So you have to know what demographics is, so how old your players are, where they're from, what sort of education, what they like. The more you know, the more you can tune around for their liking, and you can target them in terms of in-app purchases. So yeah, methods that we use in our games. Here I'm going to give specific examples of what we've done over the last 16 years already. So to begin with, as you probably know, in-game currency is actually the biggest place where you can, is the biggest method, and probably the most crucial one when it comes to in-app purchases. Because I'll give my actually my other tip here for today is that spending virtual currency is less painful and also leads to increased retention. So it's actually less painful because the brain does not calculate how much money you've actually spent on something, but you know how many, you know, gems in this case you've, you know, bought. And the other thing about, you know, this in-game currency is that when you have your tutorial, you should make sure that you introduce it in your tutorial. So the earlier you introduce your virtual currency, the better, because the player is aware that there is something that can help him through the game progress faster and, you know, get all sorts of other perks. Yeah, so actually here we have two currencies. One is the gems and the other one is gold. So each has a different value. The gems is the premium currency, the gold is the second kind of currency, and you can buy all sorts of stuff. You know, you can get wind. This is actually from a game, Online Artillery. And yeah, we have two currencies in there. We also have two currencies in our other game, Siege, which I'm going to show over a little bit later. But yeah, in terms of gems, you can buy everything with it, except for subscription. The subscription is you directly subscribe with real money for it. But there is actually a solution to this, which I'm going to show later. And you know, my other tip for today is that micropayments become a habit. So when you're doing offerings for packs for, let's say, your specific in-game currency, you're going to show, let's say, you're going to offer a variety. And if you offer a small pack for, let's say, $2, more people, you know, players are more likely to buy it than, let's say, the $10 one, because it's smaller change and they won't feel it that much in their, you know, in their pocket in terms of spending. Because at the end of the day, players do like to, you know, when they spend, they also have one on their, you know. They also think about what they're spending as well, in terms of money. Yeah, the in-app purchases. So daily events and offers. Now this is actually, it's one of the crucial bits, because when you're selling, you know, a specific, you know, method to your players, you should always introduce them to your main monetization method. So this is actually for Crush Them All. These are screenshots from Crush Them All. And you have all of these interesting ideas like the Daily Dungeons, Crusade. These are all modes that you can play PvP, PvE. You have expeditions where you can mine stuff. And you also have these, this is the Mad King, which is actually one of the crushers. And one of the main monetization methods in this specific game is where you open chests with different medals that you can collect for your heroes, such as on the screenshot on the top left-hand side. And when you collect these heroes, you upgrade them and you progress faster and so on and so forth. So these chests also introduce the player to rewards and other perks within your game, giving them again this taste of how quicker they can go through the game and become more competitive and reach their essential goals. And actually, when I'm saying that it's really, really good for you guys to, if you're doing such games, to introduce your main method of monetization quite early, it's because of this. 50% of the virtual currency spent in this specific game is on events chest. So this is basically the main monetization method when it comes to revenue split. Yeah, and I also have another tip here, is that again, I actually said this, the earlier the introduction, the main monetization method, the better. Yeah, definitely you should introduce it in your tutorial. If you have one, it will help you at a later stage. So Siege World War II, this is the other game that we acquired back in 2020, early January, as I mentioned earlier. It's actually, it's a strategy action game where you have collectible items, such as cards. And items and collectibles are obviously a big one. There's a lot of games on Steam that have these, they're usually turn-based and they have cards and stuff like that. But basically they're used for boosting the performance of your, of your game. And these can be improved directly or indirectly by spending, the in-game currency. So this is another, again, this is one of the main methods that your game is built around in terms of monetization method. And just to prove this is that about 55% of all diamonds in this specific game are spent on obtaining and leveling up these cards. The rest is spent on other perks within the game. But yeah, this is basically the main method again. So when you're looking at good credentials around your in-app purchases in your game, roughly about 50% or about half should be from your main monetization method that is around the game. Now the research time, I'm actually going to introduce my next tip here, is that time is relative. If you have an MMO game that is RTS orientated, it's got time in it, you should always take advantage of this, because you can always monetize time. It speeds up progression, it speeds up game progression, and what it does is that the player can progress much faster when they can, for example, they would spend here 340 diamonds in order to build this caravan station instead of waiting for an hour and 20 minutes. And they speed this up, and they will get this. They'll be able to reap the benefits of this building. But you also should, we've implemented this, building, that you can actually speed up. We would give you about 10 minutes so that you understand what this gives you, essentially. It's very good for the early times in your, in the early gameplay, because when you have RTS games, in the beginning, the time is, no more than like 10 minutes. At the later stages, they become hours, maybe even sometimes days. So it's a good idea to introduce that again early, to show the players that they can use this method. So obviously, always it's very good for you guys to introduce your monetization methods as early as possible so that the players are aware of it. And also you should always explain very well what they are, because sometimes they don't always understand, and yeah, they may miss it and they may not understand what it is and wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be able to monetize by it. But yeah, in terms of time, not only you can build stuff, you can also make armies, and you can build armies around them. You can summon them. You can send them to, let's say, the next territory to fight. You can bring them up quicker. So you can use time for pretty much everything, and it's a very, very good model for monetization. I would definitely advise you, if your game has time in it, to implement this this feature. The next one's premium. Now, when I mentioned that subscription uses direct payments as in actual money, the premium is actually one way that we've come up that it has similar perks, but you don't have this subscription where you pay with your real money. So in here we actually have diamonds. You basically would go and your players would purchase diamonds from the shop, and then they can subscribe for 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, maybe even a year. It really depends on the player, and of course how you tailor your offers towards your players. And the idea is for it to allow variety, so therefore your players are not obliged to subscribe directly to your game perks, but they can subscribe for some sort of time. And this is personally I really like it, because it's it reduces the time that you would need to tend over your game. In this situation is in the Empire, because it's part of Imperia Online actually. I forgot to mention. But also it has about 50% of the payers buy the premium offer. So it's a very vast amount of the payers purchase it because they know that this is going to help them over a period of time. Subscriptions. Now, the subscription one is quite cool as well, because it's the way we've built it. It can be singular or it can be collective. So the alliance subscription is when you're in alliance. If you're not in alliance, you can still purchase it, but it's meant for alliances. And the way it works is that if you have, if you're 3 people in the alliance and only 1 person has the subscription, the other 2 people, the other 2 players in that alliance would get the perks that basically the player has got because he's got this subscription. And the more people get it, the bonuses stack up. So again, I would say that a key to a subscription is not to go over the top with the actual price. That's why we've chosen a sensitive price of about €6, which is fairly good for every month, and it gives you a lot of bonuses that will help you through the game in any event, whether it's World Cup, whether it's Winter Olympics, whether it's Summer Olympics or Halloween, or whatever event you have in your game. This is something that's going to help your players for sure. Yeah, and actually a third of the players have an alliance subscription, so it is quite powerful. We're still trying to develop other ways of increasing the players that have an alliance subscription, but it's we're actually quite proud of it because it's managing very, very well. And yeah, my other tip is that having a wide variety of payments is always will only have a positive impact. And this here is a tip strictly more for the web kind of orientated games, because the more payments that are available to your players, the more they will be able to purchase. So specifically for Brazil, actually, there is one of the payment methods there is that you would have to go to the shop, you would purchase a barcode, and then you would be able to put in the numbers of that barcode in the game, and then you receive. So that's just another way, a very popular way in Brazil, how they actually purchase stuff on the internet. It's kind of like like a card, like a gift card, basically. So yeah, the more you have, the better, and especially when it comes to subscriptions and stuff like that. Everyone has a different way of managing money. Cryptocurrency, it's also a good one, so you should always add it. Psychological factors is actually the next topic we're going to discuss. It's I'm not too sure if you guys are familiar with it, but psychology has a lot to do with players paying. And what I mean by this is we'll actually explore first the flow theory. So the flow theory actually dictates, well, everyone in this room has experienced this one way or another. It doesn't specifically dictate it for the gaming industry, but it's for everything. If you're enjoying something, time goes quicker and you don't understand that this time has gone past. So let's say if you guys are playing, let's say FIFA, I'd say, okay, it's 11:27 right now. I'll go play some FIFA. I'll play two matches. Yeah, that should take no more than 24 minutes. You look at your watch after you've done 2 FIFAs, and you say, okay, I still have time, and then you go on, and then you go on. So it's a state of mind where you don't fully understand how much time has passed, and this comes to the next point, that there's a lot of emotions when it comes to payments as well. Out of curiosity, comfort, ambition, impatience, they're just every single emotion that the human can experience can be directly related into payments. Let's say for ambition, you want to be the best of the best of the best in this tournament. So the guy would the player would go on and open various of chests in order to become the best, and he's searching to be the best. There's also impatience. Obviously, you're not progressing quick enough. This is actually quite related to the time method that I've earlier mentioned. You want to progress quicker, but you need to spend virtual currency in it in order to do that. So if you have that impatience, you would go and do it. And the idea of all of these, methods that I'm showing today is to trigger one or other reaction and emotion in your players. Yeah, and also the impulse purchases. Now, when I was actually looking at stuff, when I was actually putting this presentation together, I actually read that in 2020, about 80% of the purchases in the gaming world for all consoles, mobile, web, whatever everything that you have out there were impulse purchases. So that's 80%. That's how much emotions are involved in your pay. Of course, these impulse purchases have been triggered by an emotion, which has been triggered by your initial monetization method. Yeah. So the other tip for today, it's not my last one actually. Every component of the game should be designed to trigger an emotion. For sure, you need to design everything about emotions. And my last slide for today, it's fine tuning. So of course, once you have all of your monetization methods that you've picked out for your game, and you think, yeah, these are brilliant, you should know how to fine tune each reward, offer, method. You need to know how to fine tune it. And the first point actually brings me back to my first tip for today, when I said that you need to analyze the important facts. So you need to find everything about your players. You need to sort it, segment it, and analyze the data. How you can do this is you can give in-game currency or skins or whatever. You can give stuff away in the game in order to get valuable information from your players, like questionnaires. Oh, how old are you? What's your age between 10 to 15, 16 to 20? And this way you can understand your players. What is your audience and who plays that game? And from there on, you can tailor your methods and rewards and offers towards them. When it comes to fixing an offer, you should always have a variety, as I mentioned earlier. You should always have a variety because players like variety. If you have two methods and both of them are not good enough for that player, he's probably not going to buy them, so you need to have like 5. You need to have increasing rewards and the rational package offer, which actually comes here. As you see, you have that. This is on our web game, Imperia Online. We've given this variety. There's seven different chests that you can buy, and as each chest progresses in terms of price, so does it doubles its in this instance it's actually diamonds. It doubles, but it also gives 10% more. So you're trying to show that the previous offer, the offer to the left, is worse than the offer to the right. And this is where the irrational package comes, because essentially here we are selling for 240 euro, we are selling 884,000 diamonds, but you're getting only 1 chest and 50% research bonus. But for the same price, you can get all these same perks, but you get 2 chests. So which one would you choose? You would choose the one where you get more stuff. And yeah, you should definitely have this. It's when you have variety, you're sure that you're on the right path, because players are going to people like to have choice and a freedom of speech. And one of the last things for today is that you should take care of your payers. Not just for them, it's also for your other players that they're not payers, but you should be generous to them. You should, when you see that they're buying a lot of things, you should give them back something. You should give them back something a lot. When it comes to the rewarded monetization, you should, this is one way where you can be generous. You can give them in-game currency or skin or whatever. And you should also take care of your high rollers. Some call them whales, others don't. So specifically when it comes to the offers that I just showed, if you're saying that a whale or a high roller is buying this big pack, is buying it 5 times, when you notice it, what you can do is you can leave that, you can remove the smaller packages and give him a tailored one, a custom one, which is with more diamonds, and it's a little bit more money, but it's, maybe he would like that. But certainly do not remove the offer that he likes to buy, because if he does not like your new offer, he will not buy it. And you need to have your old offer. And this is actually my last tip for today, is that each purchase must have a positive impact that is felt by the player. Whatever you do, you should always test it and see if you're feeling that the purchase that you've made, if you feel that you have, it's given you progress, then you're in the right direction. Of course, you shouldn't make it too much progress. You don't want to make it too easy for them, but you don't want to make them too hard, because that would decrease retention. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This was like a very amazing speech. So now it's time for a Q&A session. Yeah, we have the first question.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I have a question about the rewarded reviews you've mentioned. As far as I know, they are restricted with both stores, App Store and Google Play. So how do you guys deal with the risks to have an account banned?
You can try that, of course. It's always under the table, I guess. You don't want to annoy these guys, of course. Apple and Google, they're too big. But of course, there's a lot of restrictions that are going to come down soon, especially with what's happening with Apple. So this is something that may happen in future, and you may be able to go with it. So it may be a little bit of an old technique. It's not something that you should show to every player that you have, but you should show it to at least 1 or 2. It's going to bump up something. It's going to help you.
Players?
Well, of course, I guess you can. It's really up to you. As I said, you need to understand your players and who is playing your game. So the people that are most the best group in your game, you should target them, because they would give you that positive feedback.
And hope you won't be banned.
Okay.
Yeah. I see. Thank you.
The question is, what is methods you're using to balance economics of a game for the players who pay and so for the player who is not prefer to pay, and the difference that way of the progress and so on?
Yeah. Well, actually, in the beginning, where I said that that was specifically for Crush the Mode, we had rewarded monetization. That's about 30% of the revenue. You should, as I mentioned, you should be generous not just to your payers but to your players, because essentially your game is not just played by everyone that pays in your specific game, but it's also by by your players. So you need to give them rewards back. You've played that many hours. Here's your lucky chest. You've done something. This achievements is another way. Of course, it gives to the payers as well, but you should try and find a way to target your non-payers. For Crush the Mo, where in that specific slide, this rewarded monetization is specifically designed to target them. So that way we make money out of it, but we give something to them, because the amount of premium currency that the players get from these rewarded monetization videos is very, very big. You may not need to actually pay in it.
Thank you, Vasil, for your lecture. My question is about your welcome offer. So we have 3 positions there, and my question: did you A/B test with just one position, and the other one, after the player choose one option in a welcome offer, do you segment these players after this first purchase?
So the first time offer, when you sign in, register, sign in, we've designed it specifically so it has variations. As I mentioned, you definitely need to have a variation in what you offer when it comes to to your offers. So you need to have a variation in terms of how we've tested it. It's been done over the years. So we've looked at first purchases that have been made, let's say in the first couple of days. You choose your target for your specific game, and then we try to put something together with a bit of variations. And as you saw, I think, I don't know if you remember the screenshot, but there were 3 offers. So the first one was for $5 or €5. The next one was for 11, and there was again this irrational package. So the irrational package, you should always have it in there, no matter whether it's a €200 package or it's a €5 package. You should always have it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the talk. I got a question about your special offers for different countries. You've got them on a separate time. So let's say Russia gets one offer and Brazil didn't in the same time?
No, we give the offer for everyone. We try not to discriminate.
Okay,
so
and it's have different types of content on it, or
yeah. So if it's for a specific content, we try. If it's for a specific holiday, we try to give it that more special about it. So let's say if it's for Christmas, we try to give it Christmassy look, I would say, and a Christmassy feel. And yeah, essentially that's it, I guess.
Okay, maybe I got to different. So you didn't have special offers for, let's say, a specific holiday for Russia. You got more.
We do. We target them. We target, the Russian players specifically, but we make this offer available for everyone. Because if somebody is, is a player from, I don't know, Bulgaria, and he comes to Russia, and he's been in Bulgaria, he's played the game, and he comes to Russia in the same time, and he sees the offer and he didn't get it where he was in Bulgaria, he would be a little bit annoyed. So that's why you need to make sure that everyone gets everything shared.
Okay, thank you.
More questions? Oh, two questions more.
I just want to know how you hold your players if they stop paying, and then how you come back them.
Yeah, that's quite difficult, to be honest. It really depends on your game. To be honest, sooner or later, every player is probably going to decide that this game is not for him anymore at some point. But you need to have a look at what they've done in the past and look at their trends of what they've paid and understand, have they been decreasing their payments and how they've been decreasing it, or if they've just gone for a lot and then they stopped. Maybe they have abundance of their material, so this means that maybe you're giving a little bit too much in an offer. That's where it comes back to, you should always test what you're offering. In terms of getting your players back, it's a little bit hard for me to give you an actual answer. It really just depends on the game.
Okay, thank you.
Vasil, thank you for this awesome lecture. I have many questions, but they are only about ads monetization. So are you planning to use some other formats? Because I saw in lecture that you are using right now rewarded video. What do you think about interstitial, so offer wall?
We're not going to do that right now. The way specifically for Crush Them All, we try to give the player as much space so that he can have a lot of things on the screen. And while we should have a lot of things for the player is in terms of content, you should still make it simple. And ads such as these ones, they can also be quite annoying. And that's actually the good thing about rewarded monetization, is because the player, when they get it, when they click on it, they know why they're watching this video. It's not forced on them, basically. And that's why it's a little bit more nicely implemented, if I can say. Okay, and one more question. How do you track or check some kind of cannibalization between entry points and placements that you have in your game? Okay, that's quite a hard one. To be honest, I need to think about it. I need to have a look, and I can give you an answer a little bit later, perhaps. An email. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Another question there.
Thank you for your speech. My question is about ad monetization. Do you have any experience of ad monetization of your web games?
Yes. Yeah, we did. We have done it, but this is actually what your friend there was talking about. It was actually cannibalizing our methods in the games. We decided to stop them, and also our players didn't really react that well to it for some reason, because it's maybe because the rewards weren't as good as. But if we tuned them up, they would get a little bit too much. So at that point, they were actually cannibalizing our methods.
I want to continue this question. What kind of publisher did you use in your web project?
Ourselves. We self-publish. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, more questions. We have like 10 minutes left to discuss. Questions? Okay, then I'm gonna ask you mine. So, okay, I forgot it. I had 3 questions in my head. Okay, did you try, so you used the subscription method, but have you ever tried, or have you ever thought about Battle Pass? Like a lot of midcore games use it for monetization. What about you? Yeah, so the subscription is for our web game. It's for our web game, so we don't have a Battle Pass on there. We are thinking about it to implement it in Siege. So yeah, we're thinking about it. We're still trying to see how that might impact the game in general. Okay, and maybe the last one, we still have time, so... Oh, there is a question. 2 questions.
Thanks. I want to ask how much more subscription can suggest to player resources than regular offer in percent?
So the subscription...
To not break economic.
So the subscription has to be... it has to be different. It has to offer the player specific perks that he cannot get via, offers. So you have to look around gaps in your games where you can give this performance boost to your players without, damaging the rest of the economy.
But these perks can be converted into resources, equivalent resources.
Yes. Usually it's more time related. So if you have, if you have the subscription, it's going to give you 10% quicker time than usual, which you cannot get with your offer. You can skip time, but you can't get time to go 10% quicker.
10.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last question right there.
Another question about subscription for clans. So you said that you try to teach players about effectivity of different offers. And so how do you do it in clans, and how you teach players that this offer and social aspect of the game is that powerful, so you must buy it and must convince other players in the clan to buy it?
Yeah. So we haven't really made it as in to teach the players. We're giving out. It's like a choice. It's a variety. So if the player has a choice, they can make they can make their decision whether they want to buy it or not. But we're trying to make sure that whatever we've done with the subscription, whatever we're offering, it's something that they cannot get anywhere else. And that is the selling point. This is the main selling point for your subscription in this case. You need to have something that's a little bit more compelling than for you not to. We need to give you not a reason for you to buy it, essentially, the other way around.
Hi. And you're talking that there is a difference between the different persons and did you try to play with the price for different persons, like the one with the premium model of the phone and the one with the cheap model of the phone? Did you try to give them different prices?
No, no. This is something that it's if they catch you for some reason that you're trying this, the players are not going to like you anymore. It's going to be quite damaging. So no, don't do this for sure.
Thanks.
Okay, another question. Okay, there is a guy.
Sorry, I can't stop asking you. One more question. What are your future plans for monetization? I mean, are you planning to enhance your in-app purchase method, or just to look for another kind of monetization?
That's a good question. To be honest, I don't think we know ourselves. It's more of a plan for 2 weeks ahead. We're doing live operations and we're very good at it. So we're doing tournaments for it. And after each tournament, we analyze who has paid, how much they spent, why they've spent it. We try to find all this sort of information that I mentioned a few times. You need to find this information, and when we find it, this is actually, I think, after our latest tournament. I think it was the Summer Olympics, to be honest. We actually implemented a smaller offer of $2. This is the smallest offer we're offering in our, in Imperia Online. So the idea of it is that during the summer, you would expect that players wouldn't be so active, and we thought that there is a gap for us to, perhaps give them this specific push for them to continue to make purchases with a smaller pack. This is how. So it's more of a in progress that you improve and add in terms of monetization methods.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I guess we're done for today. So thank you very much for your amazing speech.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys for your questions. Please don't forget to rate this session in the Pine app. It was amazing. I guess it deserves like 5-star or 10-star if it's there. I don't know, like the maximum of stars. So thank you very much again, and let's meet again in 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can actually come to me or you can drop me an email. I'd be happy to share the presentation with any one of you. So yeah.